Wildlife officers release a bear relocated out of a neighborhood, and the bear stops for a second to look back at them, saying a final goodbye before running off into the wild.
For the first time in 20 years, two chimpanzees, Vanilla and Shake, are experiencing the outdoors. Vanilla looks up in awe at the endless sky, amazed that she can now gaze at it freely whenever she pleases. Curious Giraffe wandered into civilization and quickly found itself in danger. Thanks to quick action, the 2-ton animal was saved and safely guided back to its natural home. This young lynx is so stunned by his newfound freedom that he hesitates, unsure what to do next. For the first time in ages, he gets to explore his new wild home. 300-kilogram crocodile, feared by many and destined for execution, was spared. The villagers, breaking a cycle of violence, chose a different path, releasing it back into the wild, where it truly belongs. After 3 weeks of intensive care, it's finally time for this little monkey to return home. The moment it reunites with its family, the hugs say it all family is everything, and they are so much like us. Dedicated volunteers rescued 51 desert sheep, helping them form a herd. Today, they're being reintroduced to an area where these majestic creatures haven't roamed for many years. This little orphan bear cub is finally on the road to recovery. After 8 months at a rescue center, he's ready for his big moment, returning to the wild where he belongs. These African penguins were planning their grand escape, but there's no need now. They're finally free to roam as nature intended.
If you're having a bad day, feast your eyes on an unboxing of cuteness.
If not for quick action by volunteers, this snow leopard's life might have ended tragically. Now healed from its injuries, this magnificent feline is ready to return home, free once again. This pair of Mexican wolves has been released into a protected area where they can reconnect with their pack and live in safety, free from harm. Baby penguin, after being carefully rehabilitated, is ready to be released into the ocean. Hesitant at first, he finally answers the call of adventure as the waves welcome him home. The time has come for these two eagle owls to leave their caretakers behind and embark on a life of freedom in the wild, where they'll soar on their own. This Pacific octopus, once no larger than a grain of rice, has grown to an impressive size at the Seattle Aquarium. Now it's time for this intelligent creature to live a full wild life in the ocean. Man made it his mission to help a badger return to the wild. But as it turns out, freeing this feisty little guy was a lot harder than he thought.
One out. There you go.
Mega and Messick are cubs who were abandoned by their mother. They fell into the hands of loving rescuers, who prepared them for an independent life in the forest.
As these safari workers release 2 roe deer who happily dart back into the wild.
Say hello to Peepa and Po, rescued, rehabilitated, and now ready to take on the world. They've come of age, and today they return to the wild. Cockatoos may make affectionate pets, but nothing compares to the joy of freedom. Just ask George the cockatoo, who now flies free after years in captivity. a man who's become a true friend to these lions. But now, it's time for them to return to their real family and reclaim their place in the pride. Picture this. Over 1 million pigeons being released at once, soaring into the sky like a massive cloud of freedom. It's a sight you have to see to believe. Nearly a year in rehabilitation, this green turtle is finally returning to the ocean. It's a moment of triumph, and with luck, it could live for another 80 years. A 6-ton male elephant is being returned to his natural habitat. But before he can be free, rescuers need to find a rather large taxi to get him there. Havana, a sea creature, was tangled in plastic and near death. Thanks to compassionate rescuers, she now has a second chance to live her life in freedom. This bear has known only captivity. But today, she and her cubs are about to discover the wonders of freedom for the first time. Introducing an entire herd of bison into their natural habitat takes more than just opening a gate. A professional rescuer literally had to guide them home, one step at a time. Imagine spending 30 years in a lab as a test subject. That was the reality for these chimpanzees until today. As they step outside for the first time ever, their joyful embrace says it all. No creature should ever endure such suffering. A large family of animals has been moved to a new sanctuary, complete with a pool. Safe from the city's dangers, they now live in harmony with nature. A heartwarming rescue, professionals launched a special operation to save a 5-day-old elephant calf from a muddy pond. Listen carefully. Its mother thanks the rescuers in the most touching way. While rescuing some orangutans, something went terribly wrong. A male, in a fit of rage, endangered both his fellow apes and the humans trying to help. Quick thinking was the only way to finish the mission. To get this 450-kilogram polar bear back home, pilots had to get creative flying low, close to the ground, to avoid waking the bear mid-flight. Thankfully, it woke up only after it was safely back in the wild. Baby falcon was abandoned by its mother. Luckily, it ended up in good hands, who raised and fed it. Now, the time has come for it to take off towards a new life in freedom. Some little swans got stuck, and not even their parents helped them. But this kind soul found a way to reunite the family. She thought she'd be trapped behind the kennel door forever. But as she gazes out now, her eyes glisten in disbelief. Her home, the place she thought she'd never see again, is right in front of her.
And here's the touching moment where 12 rescued penguins were released back into the sea after being found malnourished and dehydrated. And this rescued elephant seal who pauses and looks at his saviors, saying goodbye in his own way before being released back into the ocean. Giraffes are released into a protected area in South Africa. And here's 6 more giraffes being released to the same area, happily running out of the cage and into the riverside wilderness. An elephant transit home in Sri Lanka rehabilitates orphan elephant calves and ensures they have the best chance of survival out in the wild. Watch the beautiful moment where 9 of these orphans are released back to the jungle.
The team stepped back, watching from a distance as the massive grizzly cautiously emerged from the trailer. Little did the bear know, those humans just helped him find his way home.
With huge tusks and a grumpy temperament, hippos are widely known as Africa's most dangerous animals. So when this hippo was going to be released into the wild once again, these wildlife workers had to tranquilize the dangerous creature before moving and releasing it in a protected area. Now, the hippo is finally free to stay in his new home with the pleasant company of a local dame. On this day, many baby chimps that had never been out in the sun were released. From the sounds they were making, we can tell they are excited for their future in the wild. When his cage was opened, this ocelot took a bit of time to take in his surroundings. It finally dawned on him that it was his day of freedom, and he happily ran off into the woods.
Seen one or two animals released at once, but have you ever witnessed 165 red deer being set free simultaneously in a vast reserve? It's an unforgettable sight.
Instead of succumbing to the pleas from a local zoo to get this rare lynx, they fought for what was right.
Carried and gently assisted into the ocean, this sea turtle wasted no time diving in. It swam away with joy, ready to begin its new life.
There we go.
This bald eagle couldn't believe its eyes as it stepped out of its cage. There was more to life behind bars, and it was definitely ready to explore. This gray fox wasted no time and immediately sprinted into the bushes as soon as his cage was open on the day of his awaited release. 3 bottlenose dolphins are released into the open sea around Indonesia after years of captivity in a traveling circus and a resort hotel pool. They are now swimming free. Just watch how one of the dolphins approaches one of the cameras, saying thank you to the human heroes who set him free. When 4 orangutans were set free into the wild for the first time, 2 of them adjusted smoothly. The third one, however, seemed upset and even flipped his cage over. His frustration spilt over to the 4th cage, where his brother was still inside. Fortunately, things settled down eventually. It's a reminder that releasing animals can come with its own set of challenges. Overwhelmed by the unfamiliar sight of so much greenery, this bobcat cautiously emerged from its transport crate and eventually fled into the bushes. For the first time in their lives, these tigers experience what it's like to swim. One of the tigers is completely in love with the concept and can't help but splash around the pool.